Hi everyone, my name is Josh Snell and I'm the administrative assistant at the Fort Thomas campus. And I've also been providing online care for our online community. And I'm really excited to share with you guys today's Wednesday word. So, being the Easter season, I want to get us into the upper room and looking at this conversation that Jesus has with his disciples and specifically with Simon Peter. So in Luke 22, verses 31 through 34, we see Jesus is in the upper room with his disciples, meaning he's having this final meal with his disciples, he's washing their feet, and he's getting ready to go to the garden where he's going to be betrayed by Judas. And in this exchange, we see Jesus speaking with Peter, and he tells Peter, "Simon, Simon, Satan has asked to sift all of you as wheat, but I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers." But he replied, "Lord, I am willing to go with you to prison and to death." And Jesus answered, "I tell you, Peter, before the rooster crows today, you will deny 3 times that you know me." And there are a lot of things we could get into with this passage, but one thing I want us to hone in on is the fact that this is a time when we get to explicitly see Jesus, even in his earthly ministry, interceding for his people. And what's so cool is we see other prayers that Jesus makes for the disciples in general. We see prayers that he makes for the church in general. But here in Luke 22, we see an example of Jesus interceding for Peter as Peter. And he is saying, "Peter, I know you by name. I know your needs by name. I know the persecution and the suffering you are going to face. And I know exactly what it is. And I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you, Simon Peter." And we get to see the personal aspect of Jesus' intercession, of Jesus praying for his church. That he doesn't just pray for the church in a collective way. He certainly does, but he does so by praying for each one of us as individuals. And there are a couple of really neat little things we get to see about his intercession through this. One is we see that Satan has asked to sift them like wheat, but that Jesus interceded so that Peter's faith would not fail. So what we see in that is that Jesus knows what's going to happen. Jesus is the one who is in complete control, and he's actually going to use, just like with Job, he's going to use Satan's plans to complete a completely different outcome. And so we see that Satan, it says, wants to sift them like wheat. And it's a phrase we don't use a lot anymore, but it's a farming term back then that meant where you would separate the good part of the wheat from all the extra stuff that just needed to get lost. And he would do it by putting the wheat on a hard surface and beating it with a club. And so we see that Satan says, "I want to beat them with a club. I want to lay into them." And Jesus says, this is going to end in a way that is going to purify you and make you rely more on me. And I am praying for you that your faith will not fail. So Satan has this idea, and God says, okay. But the intended outcome is going to be so different because Jesus is in control. And God is in control. And so what we see here is that not only is Jesus' intercession with us, or for us, I should say, personal, but it is also sovereign. And Jesus is in total control. So the one who intercedes on our behalf is also the one who is in control. And as we can say what from seeing this, God is all powerful, he is all loving, and therefore I can trust him and I can obey even when it's hard, even when I'm going through intense suffering. I just want to show the totality of Jesus' intercession as well with Peter by showing you something really cool. The next couple scenes, please go through and read the next few chapters of each of the Gospels, the final chapters, so you can see the whole story again and again as we go into Easter. But we see that Peter, in the very next scene, is in the garden, and he's actually, in his own strength, trying to fight for Jesus. And Jesus does not approve of what he does, and he actually reverses what he's done, literally by healing a man's ear. But we see that even in Peter's self-proclaimed righteousness and strength, when Peter's saying, "I've got the reins and I'm in control, I'm doing what I said I would do," even in that, Jesus is praying for him because Jesus knows, no, you need me and you need what I'm going to do for you on the cross, and you are going to need forgiveness. And then the very next scene, we see Peter is following Jesus to the high priest, but we can already see in his own strength, Peter is waning away. He's waxing away, and he's getting weaker and weaker, and he kind of holds back. And even in that wasting away of Peter in his own strength, we see Jesus is still praying for him. And yet, even further, we see Peter finally, at the end of the day, denies Jesus 3 times. And yet Jesus is still interceding with him. So even through the whole de-evolution of Peter's strength into a complete crash, we see Jesus' faithfulness, because he is faithful. And he is personal, he is in control, and he is faithful. So take heart with that this week. And remember that even if you are in suffering right now, Jesus is interceding with you. Not that you'll never suffer, but that your faith will not fail. And lean into him. Cry out to him. When you're trying to think through, how is this happening? What can I do? Instead of just thinking through to yourself or talking to yourself, talk to Jesus and pray to him. And instead of talking to yourself, talk to Jesus, because he is interceding with you or for you on your behalf, and he loves you if you are in him. Just a quick last little note in case you think, well, that's all well and good if you're an apostle like Peter. What about for everyone else? Well, the amazing thing is Paul reminds us in Romans 8:34, Jesus Christ is the one who died, but even more, who has been raised. He is also at the right hand of God and intercedes for us. So Jesus' intercession is personal, it's powerful and sovereign, and it's pervasive throughout all of our lives as we're in him, so that our faith will not fail. And finally, we're reminded in Romans that it is present. So I hope you guys just take some encouragement from that today, and you just lean into Jesus, pray to him, and worship him in this wonderful season of Easter. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.